The U.S. Olympic track star Sha'Carri Richardson suspended for a month after testing positive for marijuana.
Most of the NBA, NFL, and at least half the players in the NHL use cannabis, according to player reports. And not only professional athletes. A recent study found that more than 80% of cannabis users like to work out. It turns out that the traditional image of cannabis users is nothing but a cliché. But is everything we thought we knew about cannabis and sport wrong? With the legalization of marijuana in more and more countries and the ban of American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson for the Tokyo Olympics, this has become a hotly debated topic. So can marijuana make you a better athlete? Welcome to Athletic Interest. Ben Johnson, Lance Armstrong and the Russian track and field team are not the first to get caught cheating. The use of drugs in sports is as old as sports itself. Scandinavian mythology says berserks would drink a mixture called bututens that increased their physical power with a slight risk of insanity. They would literally go berserk by biting into their shields and gnawing at their skin before launching into battle, killing anything in their path. The secret recipe apparently included fly agaric mushrooms. The ancient Olympics in Greece had doping as well. Even in 700 BC, there was an awareness that higher testosterone levels would increase performance. So athletes back then ate animal hearts and testicles in search of potency. Injectable liquid hormones were not available yet. As this ancient Greek physician put it, "For it is the semen which makes us to be men, hot, well-braced in limbs, well-voiced, spirited, strong to think and act." When cheaters were caught, they were banned for life and shamed on Twitter. Wait, that's not right. Their names plus their families were inscribed on stone pedestals in the entranceway to the stadium for the public to see. So basically the Twitter of the time. Also in ancient Rome, athletes drank herbal infusions to strengthen themselves before chariot races. So herbs were already a thing back then. But just as it is questionable if animal hearts increase your performance, it is not at all clear that cannabis will. So why is it banned? The debate was reignited among elite athletes when Sha'Carri Richardson was denied a spot at the Tokyo Olympics after testing positive for marijuana. Many comments back then were along the lines of, "Why is she banned if marijuana is now legal in most states?" That's a pretty weak argument. In elite sports, it doesn't matter if a substance is legal or illegal. The only thing that matters is if it is banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. In fact, there are a bunch of very legal substances that can get you into serious trouble as an elite athlete. A big fat piece of poppy seed cake, for example, might cause you a positive doping test. Because poppy seeds contain morphine, and that's on the list of banned substances. And so is cannabis. But how does the World Anti-Doping Agency, also called WADA, decide what makes it on that list? There are 3 criteria: performance enhancement, health risk, and if the substance violates the spirit of sport. If a substance meets at least 2 of the 3, it gets banned. Sounds simple, but when applying the list to cannabis, you'll soon find out that there are some surprises. Marijuana was added to the list of banned substances after a Canadian gold medalist tested positive for the drug in 1998. Although marijuana is prohibited by WADA, there is little scientific evidence that it can make you a bigger, stronger or faster athlete. If anything, cannabis has a reputation for decreasing athletic performance. Early studies have shown that cannabis can spike heart rates, increase blood pressure, and thereby hamper the ability to exercise. There might be some objective but minor physical benefits of cannabis in certain sports. In the Olympic sport of archery, alcohol is banned from competitions because it could help to steady the hand. Cannabis could potentially offer a similar advantage, but there is no real data to support that. However, WADA came to a different conclusion based on a study from 2011 on cannabis in sport. The authors argue that cannabis smoking reduces anxiety, allowing athletes to better perform under pressure and alleviate stress before and during competition. The paper draws on a handful of previous scientific studies, citing, for example, a certain Dr. Wagner, who described cannabis as ergogenic, which means performance-enhancing. But here's the problem. Dr. Wagner says he never wrote that. That was like a throwaway line. I didn't imagine it would have an impact in the world of Olympics. That brings us to one of the main problems. Anecdotally, Cannabis sounds like a miracle drug, but until recently it was illegal in most countries, and that made it difficult to research in a lab-controlled setting. So there's a lot of talk, but not enough facts. Even the 2011 WADA study states that much more scientific information is needed. Luckily, more scientific information is available today. 2 new, independent papers from 2020 come to a different conclusion than WADA. Cannabis does not act as a sport performance-enhancing agent as raised by popular beliefs, and should be avoided prior to exercise in order to maximize performance. We have to take a quick excursion from the performance-enhancing question now to talk about a really surprising finding in the latest cannabis research. Users of cannabis have quite a reputation.
I think we're parked, man.
Turns out, that's nothing but cliches. A study found out that people who frequently use cannabis also seem to be people who frequently exercise, and we are not talking about bowling. It gets even better. About 70% who report using cannabis before or after a workout believe that it makes their exercise more enjoyable. The author says that the findings should not be seen as an endorsement to work out when high, but they do suggest that some of the ideas about cannabis and lifestyle may be outdated. So science says that cannabis might increase your enjoyment, but not your performance. No check for the first of the 3 criteria. What about the second one? This is the Wikipedia article about the long-term effects of cannabis. And this is its revision history. It gets changed all the time because there are so many opinions. Much in the debate about cannabis is more belief than it is fact. There's a lot of evangelism going on, and we don't want to get lost in it, so here's a quick summary. There are some potential health concerns surrounding marijuana. For example, damage to lungs and the risk of developing psychosis. But there's also a flip side. Athletes use cannabis to manage pain, sleep, and anxiety, often instead of painkillers. The misuse of opioid pain medications is a big issue, especially in the NFL. Some players use cannabis as a natural substitute instead. Cowboys' Sean Smith admitted that he smoked 2 blunts before every game. "When I smoke, I can focus and actually do the job I have. I feel like nobody can stop me when I was out there." Maybe the question is not so much if there are health risks in general, but whether cannabis has a higher health risk for elite athletes than tobacco or alcohol, which are both not banned by WADA. The idea that cannabis might not be as harmful as alcohol is common. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 10 deaths in working-age adults in the US is due to excessive alcohol use. In comparison, deaths caused by cannabis are not even tracked, because there has never been one. The trend is that more and more countries and states are legalizing cannabis, which has a direct impact on the last of the 3 criteria we need to talk about: the spirit of sports. This is even more difficult to assess than the first 2. We're not talking about scientific facts, but rather about ethics. So is it unethical to allow athletes to use cannabis? The WADA study from 2011 argues that cannabis is an illegal substance in most of the world, and therefore believes that the role model of athletes in modern society is intrinsically incompatible with use or abuse of cannabis. But cannabis is no longer illegal in large parts of the world. The laws changed, and our laws are basically the written code and rules that we all agree on. Fundamentally, laws rely on what society thinks is the right thing to do and what not. If society decides that cannabis is no longer illegal, then athletes consuming it are no longer bad role models, and it is no longer logical to say it is against the spirit of sport. So from the 3 criteria, we cannot even answer one with a clear yes. Can marijuana make you a better athlete? No, probably not. It might increase enjoyment, but there is no evidence that it increases performance. More and more leagues are acknowledging this and loosening the rules. It's not only about ethics, but also about money. Cannabis is a huge business opportunity. Professional sports already make billions with alcohol endorsements, so it could be only a matter of time before the leagues also embrace the lucrative cannabis industry. If you are marketing a supplement, who better to sell it than someone who looks like the very picture of health? It's kind of ironic. The same companies that lobby to allow cannabis in sports because there is no scientific evidence of enhancing performance will be the first one to claim that it will make you a better athlete when selling the supplements. So this video is sponsored by CBD Cannabis Brilliant Dope. Just kidding, the video is not sponsored by anyone, so smash that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed it.